Hello, Mary. How are you?
Lynn, it's wonderful of you to have us at your farm.
Welcome to DesMarais Farm. This morning, Mary has asked me to show you kids how to plant both flowers and vegetables and herbs. So I thought I would do that, and I'm going to first show everybody the tools I use on a daily basis. Mary, I have a pair of gloves for you that are actually clean that you may have and put on if you would like. Other tools that I use all the time are bug spray if I need it. It's really important not to get sunburned, so I wear a hat, I wear a long sleeve shirt, I wear my gloves, and I wear sunscreen. I then have some of my favorite tools right here. This is one of my absolute favorite tools. I don't know if you know this, Mary, but this is essential in getting things out of a garden.
I have something like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't look as strong.
But it doesn't damage the roots as much on a plant. So when you want to go into a garden and dig things out that are a little bit hard to dig out, this is a great tool to use. I also wouldn't go anywhere without my scissors, and you will see me using those many times, probably today. These are pruners, and people love pruners. They're a type of scissors. Sure, they're a type of scissors for plants. They are quite sharp, and what they'll do is, well, you'll actually watch me use this a little bit later today, or a larger pair.
Right. And you can see how they look exactly like scissors, but they're slightly different.
There you are. You may also notice a lot of my equipment has orange on it. That's because at this time of year when everything's green, it's very hard to see black on the ground or wood on the ground, but boy, do you see the orange. Finally, we have a few other things that are essential for...
Really needed.
Yes, really needed for raising plants. And that is water. It says Lynn's Water on it. I reuse and recycle everything, so this says Lynn's Water. I have a tray, and in the tray is soil, and soil is food for plants. So just like for children, what you eat and drink is critical. It's essential. This
is dirt, right?
Yes, but you have to have it.
And there's another word for it. The grown-up word is soil.
Soil.
But it's the same as dirt.
As dirt. Plants need dirt and water to grow. And I try to give my plants the best dirt and the cleanest water so that they're the healthiest they can possibly be. These are trays that I have, these are called trays, these plastic, and they're filled with dirt. And I have them at the ready all the time, because I never know when I need to put something in them. So today I thought that Mary and I would plant two different types of seeds so that we can show you kids that plants look very different, and so do the seeds that they grow from. So I thought we'd plant a few of each for you today. And so I'm going to have Mary do a thing called teddy bear sunflowers. They're adorable. They grow about this big. Mary, do you know what is so interesting about sunflowers is that they follow the sun?
They follow the sun, but they also have a pattern in the center.
Yeah.
And the pattern is so interesting, but we'll get into that another time.
Right, but they actually follow the sun all day long. These are anise hyssop, which is an herb that I particularly love because it tastes like licorice candy. So I love eating the leaves of that. So we have all of our tools. So Mary and I, there was one more tool I forgot to tell you kids about. These don't look very interesting, but boy, are they important. After you've done any of your work, when you are either putting seeds into the ground or plants into a pot, you need to write down the name of that plant so that you know what you've done. So we're going to do that at the end. So here goes. We've got our gloves on. I've got my soil. I'm going to ask Mary to wet the soil on all of those with my spray. And we're going to just wet that right down. I am going to open my seed packets and get them ready for the two of us to do this. Now, every plant, just like every person, is different. And so some plants, I even have to, as much as I know a lot about plants, I have to read the packages and find out things about every single plant. This one, the anise hyssop, the seeds are really tiny, so I'm going to bring this over to the camera so you kids at home can see can you see how tiny those seeds are? And the package tells me what to do. It says it's easy to grow and just gently put these seeds into the mix. So I thought I would have you actually put them here, Mary, if you'd like to. And you may have to take off your gloves for this because these seeds are so tiny you can't wear gloves.
How many seeds?
I would
Just
try
one?
It's too hard usually for those to just do one. So I'd use them all up over that. Because see how many there are in there? And I only need about 12 well, we have here 12 plants. 12 plants of anise hyssop would be just fine for me. And while Mary's doing this, I am going to take the marker and I am going to write anise hyssop. And then I'm going to put the date, just so I know what day we planted these. So as Mary very carefully puts those, and she just has to put them on, these just go basically...
I can't do all of these. I'll do 9.
Okay.
Because they're just so tiny.
So tiny. Okay, and then it says just tamp them in. So I'm tamping them in. Tamp means to gently press with your fingers. So she's just, as Mary puts the seeds on, I'm gently pressing them into the soil. Perfect, Mary. Now I'm going to show the camera and the kids at home a teddy bear sunflower. These, unlike the other ones that were so tiny, are huge compared to the other ones. So we're going to take these and put these in. So kids, here are the sunflower seeds, and I'm going to gently again press each one. These are big enough that I can put one in on each little plastic container. And I'm just going to do the 6 today. I'm going to be very, very happy with that. I am now going to take my sprayer and very gently finish this whole thing. This is how quick it is, and this is how easy it is. And all I'm going to do is spray that so that it stays nice and moist. Then I'm going to do my label, and I'm going to ask Mary to spray the anise hyssop just like that so that it's nice and wet while I'm doing my label.
Already.
I know, but you have to do it again now that the plants are in there. And kids, that is what I do. I start in March and I will be finished planting seeds probably in the next week. The rest of my seeds I'm going to plant outside in the ground. The ground is now warm enough. Some farms have greenhouses. A greenhouse, if you look behind me, that's a little porch. A greenhouse is a glass house, originally with a glass roof that attached to a house or a barn or stood all by itself. Today in Vermont, you don't see many glass greenhouses, but you see lots of round hoop houses with plastic. If you have a hoop house, you can start planting much earlier than I do. So today, that is what we're going to show you. And thank you so much for coming to my farm. Hello, Mary. How are you?
I am fine, Lynn.
Welcome back. I'm so excited about showing you a new garden that I put in on our farm.
All right, this was grass, and now look at it.
It was grass and weeds, and my husband was always just so frustrated because no matter what we did under this is a maple tree. It's a very special maple tree to me because I didn't know of it before I moved to Vermont. It's a silver maple and it loves water. It's very fast growing. Oh, did you see the hummingbird? Wow. Yeah. It's very fast growing. It turns out there are many, many, many silver maples in Vermont, but I had never, on our farm where I grew up, there were no silver maples. So it's a very special tree to me and very, very beautiful. And I understood why my husband was so frustrated, because this tree took all the food, all the water from everything. And so there were dead patches everywhere. And I thought to myself, what plant do I know can live with or coexist with a big, strong maple tree? And I thought, well, this is one of the hardest working plants that a gardener can have. It is called a hosta, H-O-S-T-A, hosta. And I don't know where they're from, but I do know that they love shade, and they can tolerate dry conditions. They can tolerate some wet conditions, but they love see the dappled light, the light that's just coming through the trees. They get a little early morning light, a little afternoon light, and look at how happy they are. They're only a year old. We have some that are, there are people who can walk around and tell you, this is and they'll know the name of the hosta. I cannot do that for you. What I can tell you is this is Solomon seal, but we have blue hostas and hostas with cream, and this is an azalea that also likes to live under trees. And so what I do is I keep it weed-free, and it basically takes care of itself. So we're very happy. It took a lot of work to build it. And
hostas grow big. That's
huge. If you look against the house, those are hostas that are about 10 years old. So that's what we're expecting here will be hostas, or not even just against the house, right here are hostas that are. So my husband and I love stone, and I love plants. We had this stone here, so we've used the stone and the plants, and this is the garden that we have. So it's our hosta garden. Welcome to DesMarais Farm. When I was a girl, I grew up on a small farm in Massachusetts, and we had animals. I had cows. I had Jersey cows. They are all brown and they look like little deer. I never learned how to raise vegetables, so I'm teaching myself. I decided to do two things. I wanted to grow vegetables naturally, completely naturally in soil with no chemicals, what that means is I don't spray the food with anything to keep bugs off or to make them grow bigger. They grow this big because I have them in really good soil and really clean water. So what I do is I take seeds, and every 3 weeks I plant greens in these beds. These are now 6 weeks old, and they're ready to eat. They are spinach, lettuce, we have an herb over here, another spinach, we've got some dill here, and then I've got a whole bunch of assorted greens that we're going to actually eat for lunch today. It's a really healthy lunch. I often just have them with a piece of bread, possibly with some chicken, but I know that I grew them here on our farm, and they taste delicious. Welcome to DesMarais Farms. This is a different section of my garden. I have raspberries, a few strawberries, I have blueberries, a couple of apple trees, and a couple of pear trees. The trees are young. They're not really producing yet. But my raspberries, which are over here to my left, produce bumper crops every single year. In the winter, I go in and I cut out any of the dead wood, and in the spring I come back, and if I've missed any of it, I come back and do it all over again. And then I just clip the tips of my raspberries now at this time of year. That just helps to finish trimming them up and pruning them for their maximum, for them to have the best growth and the best berries this year. Also very new to me is my blueberry patch over there. And you might wonder, now what are they doing up off the ground like that? This farm, when you own a farm, you soon learn, and you want a farm, you find out what kind of soil you have. And then you do a soil test and you find out a lot more about your soil from your soil test. So on our farm we have clay soil, which is very, very common in this area of Vermont. Clay soil is wonderful soil, but it does hold water for a long period of time, or when it dries out, it's extremely dry. So it doesn't really, it doesn't drain well. Blueberries love soil that drains very, very well. They also like the cold, so they're a perfect plant for Vermont if you have the right soil. So I knew that clay wasn't a good soil for blueberries. They like something a lot that drains a lot better than that. And they also like soil that is a bit, we call it sour. It has a pH. Every soil has a number, and it tells you how sweet the soil is or how sour the soil is. And it's whether the low number means that it's sour soil, and a high number means that it's sweet soil. Sweet soil loves to grow grass and things like peonies. Sour soil loves to grow things like azaleas and blueberries. So when we did a pH of our soil, it was so high that I could not figure out a way to fix it. So I devised this method, and I don't know if it's going to work or not. This is year one, but they sure do look happy. The blueberries are up on a mound of cedar bark mulch, and then I made a little bowl for the blueberries root system. The blueberries have a very shallow root system. It's very, very close to the surface of the earth. So I carved out a little bowl. I put in a special mixture of soil and peat moss and things that it loves, and then I planted my blueberries on top of the mound, and I am now giving them water every single day through, well, not every single day, but water is brought to them through a drip irrigation system. And that is a hose that simply drips water to the blueberries' roots. So it'll be fun to see if, when you come back in the fall, how the blueberries did. I do not expect to get any blueberries this year. I expect to get lots of raspberries, and I don't expect to get any apples or pears. The pear trees, as you can probably see, are almost just sticks behind me. But in a few years, they'll be as beautiful as these apple trees. And in a few more years, these apple trees, I think, will be producing a lot of apples for us. So thank you for coming and seeing my berrying operation. It's very small right now, but every year I add something new. So I would like to explain to you what's going on in the garden behind me. One of the things I learned about myself when we bought this farm was how much I love to raise flowers. They just make me so happy, and I love to take good care of them. I just love to raise them. So this is a garden that I have made to honor my favorite artist. My favorite artist is Vincent van Gogh, and this garden is going to be full of bright, happy colors. I don't think I'll put sunflowers in, but everything else you will have seen in some of his paintings. I will have it with iris and peonies and daisies and other things that you can see in his paintings. And the reason it is unplanted right now is that I needed a way to help me take care of the weeds, since I am not willing to use chemicals or anything else to help me take care of weeds. I do everything by hand. This allows me to cut into plastic and just allow the plants that I want to grow through. So I'm hoping that my weeding will be cut down tremendously so I can spend more time enjoying my beautiful flowers. Today I'm going to show you how I plant an herb garden. Herbs are one of our most important plants. We have used them for centuries, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, to make us feel better. They were used for medicine when we didn't have medicines like we do today. They are used to make food taste better. They are used for beauty And for variety, some are used to keep mosquitoes away or other bugs or other things that people found annoying. So herbs have been critical. They were used for not just making food, but I should say also drinks, and just in so many ways they have been used. They're our really hardest working plants. So today what I've done is I have gone to a friend and I have bought some plants that are very healthy and very beautiful, and I'm going to show you how I plant them in the garden. I place a piece of fabric at the bottom of the box, and once you put the fabric down, now we will take bags of soil and we are going to empty them into the box, and when they get about an inch below the top of the box, now it's time for us to plant. It's very exciting. I'm holding here golden oregano, which is used in lots of sauces, and it's used for a lot of Italian cooking. I have golden sage, and sage is just delicious in so many things, and it's just fun to take off a bite. I have basils and a pineapple mint. I have a wonderful new basil that is called lettuce leaf. I'm really excited to grow this. This is the first time. So we'll get all of these in the box and then we'll label them. And you don't have to have a box to have a wonderful herb garden. You can use a tin can. You take a hammer and a nail, you make a few holes in the bottom, fill it with soil, put in your favorite plant, and you have a wonderful herb garden. You can also do it by taking a plastic milk bottle. You cut it in half, again making sure to have a few holes at the bottom so the water can go through the soil and down and out of the container. You put your soil in, now we put a plant in, and we have a wonderful herb garden, or at least an herb in a container. You can have as many of these as you want, so you can make your own herb garden at home.